San Diego State Friday night game special. You hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 7:30. Pregame with Fletch and J.R. Tolver gets going at 5:30. The Aztecs are currently 6.5-point favorites at home to take down the Rams. Eli Manning reminds you there's nothing like football and King's Hawaiian sliders. There's something about those soft, fluffy, irresistible King's Hawaiian sliders that make them a winner on game day. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your grocery store. King's Hawaiian, there's nothing like it.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, don't keep us in suspense any longer. Show us what you got.
So,
first pitch swinging from 8 into 7. Here's Armstrong on a 3-hit day. Makes the catch.
An early October exit for the Padres.
We got a bunch of guys in that clubhouse that are hurting, but there's no regrets in that clubhouse for anybody.
Full reaction from the series and speculation about the future. And how the hell did this happen?
Gives to Kyron Williams. He gets packed. I think he's short, Tim. And the 49ers stormed the field. The 49ers have won it in overtime here in L.A.
Kicking off a football Friday with some L.A. magic. We got Aztecs versus Colorado State at Snapdragon Stadium. Time to jump into the weekend from the San Diego Sports 760 studios in the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Pumped to be with you all today. It's a dark day in San Diego. It really is. It is every time the Padres season ends without a World Series banner, and we haven't seen one of those yet. So we'll continue on. Today's show, largely dedicated to the Padres. We'll talk about some insanity that happened last night up in L.A., where the San Francisco 49ers mounted quite possibly the biggest upset of the NFL season so far, I would say. Was huge for Sammy and I in our Circa Survivor pool. We'll kind of update you on that as well. But let's start with the Padres, and I think that's the right place to go. We're going to hear from Manny Machado on the show today, some very questionable comments after the game that I'm sure a lot of you have already seen and heard, but we'll play it for you and kind of react. But I do want to start here because there's a lot of what ifs that come with the Padres' loss yesterday against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field that ended their season. I think it starts all the way back to a couple months ago. What if Jason Adams didn't get injured and they had more options out of the bullpen? What if Ramon Laureano hadn't gotten injured and they had another bat in this lineup who had been uber productive for the Padres? Would they have been able to score just a mediocre amount of runs in this series? What if Yu Darvish would have pitched better? What if we would have seen the Yu Darvish from a year ago in the postseason that was dominant for the Padres? What if the umpire in the ninth inning called a clear ball and walked Xander Bogaerts to load up the bases? Lots of what ifs with this entire season. What if they played better down the stretch, overtook the Dodgers and got the Reds in the first round instead of the Cubs? Hell, what if they overtook the Cubs and got to play this series at Petco Park instead of at Wrigley Field? That'd probably make a pretty big difference. Lots of what ifs, and I don't think anything I said actually matters at all, because the only what if that really matters is what if Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. played why or how Peter Seidler wanted them to play. What if they led like Peter Seidler wanted them to lead? Peter gave out a lot of money when he was the Padres owner, and a lot of that went to Manny Machado, 2 separate times, actually. I haven't seen it yet for Manny Machado in the postseason. We saw a glimmer. He got 1 hit this postseason. It was a big one. It was a home run. It was huge. It really was in game 2. But Fernando Tatis Jr. also 0 for yesterday. Luis Arraez 0 for yesterday. You look through this lineup, and it's the same damn problem we've talked about every single week with this Padres team all season long. If their stars aren't playing like stars, they don't have much of a shot. And we said that heading into the postseason, and we didn't want it to be true. We didn't want it to be accurate, but that's exactly what unfolded over this series against the Cubs. Fernando Tatis Jr., 1 hit. Manny Machado, 1 hit. Padres lose in a 3-game series in the wild card. And it sucks. And the San Diego fans who filled up Petco Park all year set another record. 3.4 million people, more than, went to Petco Park this year, paid more than they ever have for tickets to show up and be there for this team. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., do better for the fans. Please and thank you. We'll see what happens over the next couple days. Sammy, did I miss anything?
No, you hit it right on the head. We're going to play some sound from Manny Machado. I think it's pretty pathetic coming from him post-game.
I think it's embarrassing, if I'm being honest.
It's extremely embarrassing. If you would have told Cubs fans, hey, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado are going to get 1 hit apiece, they would have go, great, awesome. I mean, I hear people complaining about the Bogaerts call, which it was a terrible call, but it's not about that. Guys, it's not even the Padres weren't doing anything. They can't score. They're going to go to Milwaukee for a team that I know I've heard the last couple of weeks. Well, hey, we beat Milwaukee in a 3-game set. The second guy that pitched that night on the second day of the series was DFA. They were not throwing their real guys out there. It was a pathetic performance, I think, from the Padres, and Fernando was just completely swinging at whatever they threw at him yesterday.
Those are the worst at-bats I've seen him take maybe in his entire career.
I mean, it was like he couldn't see the ball. They were throwing.
I think he even said that post-game. He said something along the lines of, "Yeah, I wasn't picking up the pitches." Bad excuse.
In the losses, in the two losses the Padres had, 1, 2, 3 went 0 for 11. I mean, that's unacceptable. You opened the show, Fletch, talking about Ramon Laureano. We're hearing about all the complimentary pieces, Ryan O'Hearn, guys like that. Well, the complimentary pieces are there, assuming to produce, assuming that the guys that get paid the most money, that carry the weight of the franchise, that have their face on the side of the stadium, produce. And they haven't done that. Manny Machado hasn't done that for 2 months now. So I don't want to hear about the one home run he had. It was one big moment, but that's expected. Like that's expected from a guy like Manny Machado to show up in the postseason. He didn't. Fernando didn't either. And I see a lot today about, oh, should AJ Preller be here? Should all this stuff? Think about AJ Preller for a second. It's not AJ Preller's fault. The only reason this team was in contention, even in the wild card, think of the moves he made. Nick Pivetta getting completely cap strung by the organization, not allowing him to spend money. Gets the ace pitcher from the Red Sox on a deal that no one was really talking about. 4 years, $55 million. He gets that. He acquires Mason Miller. He acquires Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn. I know Laureano was out for the wild card, but these were the guys that even got them there, despite Tatis slumping and despite Manny Machado slumping and Luis Arias falling off a cliff the last couple months of the year. So I think AJ Preller is going to be scapegoated. I do think he'll be fired. I don't think it's just. I think he's not swinging the bat. And when you pay these guys hundreds of millions of dollars and they're playing like average to below average MLB players, this is what you get. You're not going to go into Wrigley and win. And it was a rude awakening. I don't know how many times you can keep running the same roster back year after year. They've shown us what this roster peaks at. This roster can sell a lot of tickets. They can have a lot of big moments, and they might win you a series. Hell, they might win you 2, but they're showing you that this is not a World Series contending roster. In terms of, I don't know what needs to change at the top. If you need to trade a superstar, if you need to make some massive changes, but at some point you can't just keep running the same thing back every single season and expecting different results.
I'm ready for some changes. I don't know about Padres fans. You can text us 70470, start your message with team. I would agree. I don't put this on Preller, but I am ready for some changes. And sometimes a new GM changes everything about a team. I don't know if it's even possible or realistic to move the Manny and Tatis contracts. I'm not sure I'm calling for that. What I'm calling for is those two guys to take an honest look in the mirror and try to decide what they want to be in the future. Do they want to go down as Hall of Famers? Do they want to go down as the guys who are the first two to bring a World Series to the city of San Diego, to bring a championship of any nature to the city of San Diego? Do they want to be those guys? Because the opportunity's there. I'd say the teams over the last couple of years have been there, but there's been two glaring misfires, and it's those two guys, man.
And look at these two combined for the series: 2 for 22,
right,
with 7 strikeouts.
It's putrid.
It's just unacceptable. And this goes back to something that Fletch and I kind of talked about on air last week. I didn't like what I saw from, like, when they clinched the wild card. I get it. You're celebrating. You're in the postseason. It's awesome. But like, I know the Dodgers up north, no one likes down here, and I get it. But do you see when the Dodgers win the division? It's a mild golf clap celebration.
For sure.
You always see this in the NCAA playoffs.
I really don't have a problem with it. I know what you're saying, and I can understand how it looks a different way, but it is baseball. We see it all over the league. Maybe the Dodgers don't do it, but the Dodgers fall out of bed and they wind up in the first round of the postseason every year.
I feel like the team has grown accustomed to, it's like, this should not be enough. The city should hold them to a higher standard of, we've seen them make the play. We're past the point of seeing.
I'm glad they had that celebration, Sammy. It was the only one they had all year.
Well, I think it's more sad. I mean, it's like, it's one thing when a team that never wins is able to win a playoff series and you get over the hump. And a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, you beat the Dodgers and it's a big deal. And it's like, I thought we were past that. I thought we were past that as a city, that it's like, hey, it's not about beating the Dodgers. That's not the goal. The goal is to win a World Series. So when you see this stuff and them going crazy for celebrating a wild card berth, when the Dodgers tried to hand you the division, the Dodgers played terrible baseball the last 2-3 months of the year. It's just, it all is accumulative in a pathetic series in Chicago. And yeah, long off season for the Padres.
And it's kind of crazy how similar the last couple of games of last year felt to the last few games of this year. It's a cyclical thing, man. It really is. We're going to hear from Manny Machado in just a little bit for a post-game interview that has since gone viral, taken over the internet today. Everybody's looking at it from every different market. And unfortunately, Manny Machado has kind of proven a lot of people right about who he is as a person. Let's go through these numbers for the top 3 of the lineup, because I think they're worth talking about here. Fernando Tatis Jr., who we can be honest about, has had excellent postseasons in the past. This was not one of them. 1 for 12 in the series with 1 walk in 3 games. Luis Ariz, who did have a nice game too, went 2 for 3 in that game, 0 for 4 in the other 2 games. Manny Machado, 1 really big hit, the home run, which we'll give him credit for, was 0 for 9 the rest of the time. Came up, I believe, 4 times in this series with runners in scoring position. Those 3 batters went 0 for 11 in a 3-1 loss in game 1, 0 for 11 in a 3-1 loss in game 3. And collectively, the Padres as a whole were 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position in the series. They don't deserve to win this series. With those numbers, absolutely not. The Cubs hardly deserve to win this series. This was a beatable Cubs team.
100%.
But that's kind of where we're at today.
And Fletch, real quick, after those stats you just read, this is why I understand it was a BS call on Bogaerts. He got screwed. It was a complete ball. He should have been at first base. So I get people being mad. But we see the clip post-game that's going viral that's being talked about on national media of the Padres screaming at him in the dugout, almost trying to fight the umps. It's like,
I kind of love that.
But when you haven't scored...
I'm good with Bogaerts doing that.
When you haven't scored anything the past 3 days... Really, the past 2-3 months.
Again, I'm not going to put a second of this series on Bogaerts. He produced.
No.
Bogaerts played well.
I'm not putting this on Bogaerts.
So Bogaerts, by the way, got a walk to load the bases in the 9th inning, and the ump called one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
It was an atrocious call. I'm not putting it on Bogaerts. What I'm saying is this is not like they scored 7 runs,
right?
And the pitching staff gave up 8, and you have a BS call at the end of the game that sells you. I mean, when you can't hit the ball and you need to mount a crazy 9th inning comeback at the end of the game, kudos to them and the fact that they almost did it. But this is the kind of stuff you got to live with. When you're hoping for calls for a pass interference at the end of the game in the NFL, you're not always going to get it. And yes, it was a horrendous call, and it sucks to see the game end that way because maybe it ends differently. But it's hard for me to be like the offense got screwed when they literally can't score, and they showed me that over a 3-game set.
I'll say Bogaerts' stock went up in my book over this series. He was playing hurt. That was obvious.
He was good this year.
He was hitting the ball. He was getting on base frequently, and I love that fire, that piss, that vinegar that I saw from Xander Bogaerts. Because I'll be honest, a lot of time in a Padres uniform, I haven't thought he's cared all that much. Yesterday showed one thing. At least he cares a lot. Let's hear from Manny Machado. We've been teasing this. Manny Machado post-game at his locker. He talked for a long time, and I'll give Manny credit at the post-game locker room. We're going to play a clip that makes Manny sound pretty bad. He did have a lot of audio sound bites yesterday that I thought were good, and he took accountability. He did, and he talked about how he's to blame for a lot of it. So did Fernando. A lot of that locker room had very similar sentiments. They all took the blame on themselves, which is good for exactly nothing, but they did that. However, this for Manny Machado, unfortunately, this is the one that's getting played today. This is the one that's going all around the country today, and this is proving a lot of Orioles fans, a lot of Dodgers fans, a lot of every other team in baseball fans absolutely right about who Manny Machado is. He was talking with Jake Garignani from CBS 8. Let's hear from Manny.
I know it just ended, but how do you assess a season like this?
I mean, what type of question is that, dude? My guy. How do I assess the season? We just lost. How do you think I assess the season? How do you think I assess it?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
You tell me. What's a loss? We lost. How do you assess it? It's a loss. You lost. Come on, dude. I mean, you could ask better questions than that. Let's go. Come on.
Thank you.
You know, wait till the last second to ask that question. No fun in that.
There's zero wrong with what that question was.
But AJ Preller is the problem with this team.
I mean, like, that's a perfect. Every player, professional player in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, when a season is done, is asked, "Do you see the season as success?" That is a perfectly normal question for that reporter to ask. And Manny,
no, that's why Jake had no problem loading that question up on social media immediately.
100%.
Like literally seconds after he asked that video was the first thing I saw yesterday from the Padres.
You know what? Manny's lucky someone didn't ask. Do you blame yourself personally for why this team has had massive playoff failures over the last 4 seasons? That's the question that
he took accountability. He said something actually pretty similar to that he does take a lot of the blame for this postseason, and I can respect that. However, Jake doesn't need anyone to defend himself. He's an excellent reporter with CBS here in San Diego. But the fact that's not the first time we've seen Manny do something like that. That's what annoys me more. But people want to say AJ Preller is the problem with this team.
It's like, Manny, are you mad at people who spent a lot of money and a lot of time to go to these games and invest in it that you didn't come through? It's not like
traveled from San Diego to Chicago to cover you in the postseason to help pay your salary.
I mean, just because you hit 1 home run, we give you credit for it. It was a fantastic hit in game 2. But you don't get paid the money you get paid to have one good play in a series. That's not what you get paid for.
2025 Padres, done, dead, over. Lots of changes coming to this team. We know that. We'll get into some of the free agents and other stuff later on this hour. It's going to be a very different looking team. Hell, we could get news within the next hour that AJ Preller's been let go. Usually if something like that's going to happen, it happens pretty quickly after a season's over. We'll certainly keep you updated. We'll react to everything.
We're going to read all your texts. We got
as it happens. Text line, light it up. 70470. Start your message with team. But if you're a sports fan in San Diego, there are some places to turn to. We'll get into that coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances every single weekday for you to win $1,000 cash every hour on the hour. Next opportunity for you to win coming up at 1 o'clock today. Just listen for the nationwide keyword. Go to sportssd.com. Enter that keyword there. You have a shot to win $1,000. All right. We mentioned San Diego sports fans. If you're looking a little lost right now after the Padres exit in the postseason, goals season is almost upon us. One of my favorite things to do in San Diego is go catch a goals hockey game out at Pechanga Arena. October 18th is the home opener. Season gets going a week before that. And then this Sunday is actually their first preseason game. To jump on and chat about it, we got Aaron Cooney, the voice of the goals. Aaron, it's been too long, man. How are you?
Gentlemen, good, doing well. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
We're doing fantastic. It's great to hear your voice. Can't wait to hear you on the call again this year. But first preseason game coming up Sunday, regular season opening up next Friday. Home opener is October 18th. What should Goals fans be expecting for this 2025 season?
Well, I can tell you what, you can get through a lot of things. I think the number one thing being around training camp that just kicked off earlier this week is there's no more BS from this group. It seems like a different energy. We're in that locker room when you're around the staff, when you see them on the ice. This group is well aware of how kind of bleak the last couple of seasons have been. I know it's been kind of a cellar dweller of a team the last 3 years, and it's just not good enough. I think it was in the off season, it was addressed pretty significantly by general manager Rick Patterson. They went out and signed some pretty big name free agents. One being bringing back Justin Bailey, who came in from a trade at the end of last season and tied to the team leading in goal scoring from January on to the end of the year. But the big fish for this group was going out and getting Matthew Phillips. For those familiar, this is a guy, since he came into the league in 2018, top 10 in scoring in the entire AHL of all players of the last 8 seasons. This is a guy that's fun to watch, speed, skill, puts up points. He led the Colorado Eagles in scoring last year, now with the San Diego Gulls for the next 2 years. So I think you got a really good recipe. And talking with the head coach, Matt McIlvain, this is the biggest group, returning group that he's had. 18 players, about 18 players coming back from last season. And you can just feel the excitement and that this team is on a mission. It's time to turn things around, and sitting around the group, it's time to win, and is really what's going on. So we're looking at a lot of fun in store at Pechanga Arena this year.
One thing I love about minor league hockey is you kind of get to see guys rise up through the ranks and watch them locally, and then go on to the Ducks. What's one player, maybe it was one of the guys you just mentioned, that you think we could be seeing play in the NHL and not too near future?
We just had a couple cuts from the Anaheim Ducks training camp yesterday, and these are guys we're going to see. Tristan Luneau, who actually led the Gulls in scoring as a defenseman last year, was an AHL all-rookie. This is the former second-round pick of the group and of the Anaheim Ducks. He was just returned to San Diego yesterday. We're going to see him on the blue line and this is a guy that was on the bubble with the Ducks. They're full of talent on the blue line on the defensive side. And Tristan Luneau is one of those guys going into camp. Okay, is he ready? Is he going to be there? Is he going to get squeezed out? They just have so many NHL-ready defensemen right now. But it's a blessing for the Gulls. We're going to see him. And another player that came in, another defenseman, another young defenseman that came in at the end of last season from Norway, Stian Solberg, is their second first-round pick back in 2024 for the Anaheim Ducks. They had 2 of them that year. Beckett Seneca was the first one. But Solberg's going to come in as a 19, 20-year-old season, his first full year in North America. And this is a guy you're going to want to watch. We're talking he's smart. You look at him, you kind of see like this guy's a little small, but he throws his body around. He throws out big hits. He embraces that kind of physicality. For a young guy, you don't see that a whole lot. But this guy has a grit and sandpaper to his game that'll be fun to watch here this season. And those 2 guys, for our sake, I'm hoping they're sticking around for the whole year, but there's certainly an opportunity to see them in Ducks jerseys as well.
Aaron Cooney with the San Diego Gulls joining us today on San Diego Sports 760. Important to know, every Gulls game can be heard free on the iHeartRadio app every game this season. So make sure you have the app downloaded and just search San Diego Gulls. You'll find all the game broadcasts there. Aaron, big birthday party coming up for Willie O'Ree, who used to live in my neck of the woods out in La Mesa. Absolute staple in the world of hockey. But that's coming up on Tuesday at the Rooftop Cinema Club. Can everybody go to that?
Yes, you can. I mean, we're thrilled about this to celebrate Willie O'Ree's 90th birthday. I know for those that may not know, we're talking. This is he broke the color barrier in the National Hockey League. This is equivalent of Jackie Robinson in baseball. We have Willie O'Ree, and he's here, kind of a hometown hero in San Diego. So on Tuesday, October 7th, we'll be at Rooftop Cinema Club. It starts at 6:30. Special guest to celebrate Willie O'Ree's 90th birthday. We'll be working with some NHL veterans like Anson Carter, and Willie himself will be there. A couple folks from TNT and the NHL will be there, and anybody can check this out. Tickets are $75. That also includes a commemorative Willie O'Ree movie poster, and there's going to be commemorative pucks as well. We'll have a screening of his documentary about Willie O'Ree, his journey, called Willie. So we're going to play the movie. We'll celebrate Willie O'Ree, and all these proceeds, it's also going to go to the San Diego Golf Foundation. So it's all for a good cause as well, helping the San Diego Golf Foundation and its mission here in San Diego. And so it'll be a lot of fun Tuesday night. That's kind of like the kickoff after the preseason game, and then we're right into the hockey season here in San Diego.
Awesome stuff, man. Can't wait for it. Goals games have been one of my favorite things since I moved to San Diego to go to. A lot of fun nights, some of them that I can't even remember, believe it or not, Aaron, at goals games. But can't wait for the season.
Last, I know guys catch up.
Yeah, exactly right. Have a great call this year. I'm sure we'll chat with you soon. And then SanDiegoGoals.com for tickets and info on games. SanDiegoGoals.com. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, guys. Good hockey talk.
All right, man. Listen to him on the free iHeartRadio app. Every game broadcast for the San Diego Gulls will be streamed live on the free iHeartRadio app. Just search San Diego Gulls when you get there. Aaron, very, very talented dude. Can't wait for this season. Sammy, you ever get out to Gulls games?
Oh yeah, I used to run the board for them, and then I got the last couple of years, been out to some Gulls games. It's super fun. They got cheap beer out there. You get the second intermission. You throw the pucks on the ice. If you get to the center, you win a big prize. It's in minor league hockey, they fight all the time. It's super fun. Even if you're not a big hockey guy, it's a fun experience.
Minor league hockey, it's the only hockey I've ever been to. I've never actually been to an NHL game.
NHL game's fun.
B, minor league hockey. This is some of the most entertaining live sports you'll ever see in your life. Can't wait for this year at Pechanga Arena. Again, first home game, October 18th. I believe I have that right. At Pechanga Arena. So get out there, support the boys. All right, quick break here. Back to the Padres we go. Coming up next. Who's going to be on this team next year? I think that's a big question for everybody. Let's talk about it. San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis. The sport is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Padres season has ended yesterday after a loss to the Chicago Cubs 3-1. San Diego State football tonight live from Snapdragon. The Aztecs are currently a 6.5-point favorite. That game gets going at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Fletch and J.R. Tolver. You're going with the pregame at 5:30. And the Lakers are back preseason basketball tonight. They'll be taking on the Phoenix Suns with Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. The new look Suns at 7 o'clock. See that game right on NBA TV. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
San Diego Sports 760. I vote we do a full restart on the show today, Sammy. What about you? We're going to inject some life into this Friday. How about that?
Let's do it.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got a little angry, I would say, at the Padres in segment one. Well deserved.
The text line is very angry at the Padres.
Yeah, and you should be. This is disappointing as hell, but we can have fun and be angry at the same time. So let's read some of these texts. 858, we need to get rid of Machado. He's an absolute jerk. Why do Padres fans see him as a clubhouse leader when the 29 other organizations see him as a cancer and don't want him near their locker room?
100%.
I'd have a hard time disagreeing, man. I think it's time for a change. I don't know if it's possible to get rid of Manny Machado. No trade clause, huge contract. I think he would have to sign off on it. Contracts are just contracts and they can be ripped up, but I think Manny would have to agree to rip it up. And I don't know why he would do that at this point. 619, Fletch, it's time to change your dog's name to McCorkle.
What does that mean?
I think it has something to do with Mac Jones, and that joke has been said a lot today. Appreciate it. 619-858. One word explains the Padres season. Lack of urgency. Don't tell Manny those 3 words, though. Yeah, Manny has a problem with the word urgency, and I wish he would have had a little bit more of it.
Yeah, it's like that's why the playoffs don't really go his way, because you need to be urgent in the playoffs and win in a short series. It's not about just going through long stretches where then you can pull out of it late in the season.
Another 858. Tatis and Machado do not have the mental fortitude and never will. That's exactly how we open the show, man. Yep. 615. Let you know how much I love you, but gosh dang it, man, it's going to be tough getting through the show today because every time I hear your voice, I'm reminded of the multiple gut punches I took last night, taking the Rams in multiple Survivor League. 615. No! We warned you. We spent 2 hours warning everybody.
We did. We got a little hesitant there. I thought about the Rams, but I was like, you know what? Division game. Mac Jones has played before.
Let me throw you a scenario out there. If you would have tried to what's the right word here?
What? Skirt your pick?
If you would have just done it without telling me, and we were knocked out today.
I didn't do that.
I know you didn't, but for a second I thought you might. I don't know that I could work with you.
Well, first off, the only one I almost pulled the trigger on, but I didn't because I knew I would get literally destroyed on air if it happened. I almost picked Miami last week.
It would have worked out.
It would have worked out.
Now we might want to take Miami this week, so I don't know. 858, I would fire the batting coach and not extend Preller or Schultz, but bring back all the players you can. You can't just blow it up yet. 858, there's been way too many times Manny comes off as an absolute punk in media interviews. That's a fact, man. We'll have Kevin Acee one more time this season. We'll have him next Tuesday. And I would like to get his thoughts on what went down. Yeah. Kevin's been on the receiving end of quite a few Manny Machado blowups.
Well, going back to the Machado thing, Viva Padres says that was an absolute softball question for Machado.
It was such an easy question for him to just turn around and say, look, man, we didn't get to where we wanted to this year. I assessed the season as bad.
You know what irritates me the most about Machado is that he was happy to go to the mic Wednesday when they won. I mean, seriously, he did a long interview. He was at the podium. He was having a grand old time when he hit the home run. Let's go back to what Kevin Acee said on our show a couple months ago. Remember that Dodger game? Remember the Dodger series the week before the Padres took 2 of 3? Manny would not talk to the media, and it became a big thing because he did not play well in the series. And then I believe they played the Giants that week, and then he's playing well. He's happy to talk to the media. This is not how leaders work. You can't just decide.
That's how Manny works.
When you want to talk to the media, you want to talk to them when you're good or down. That's the ebbs and flows of getting paid the money you get paid. This has been the criticism on Kevin Durant his entire career. Kevin Durant's happy to go to a podium when he wins the titles with the Warriors. When you ask Kevin Durant about why he hasn't won a title since the Warriors, when he has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, he's not very too keen to be highlighting that.
Right. Manny Machado is going to be a Padre next year. I've seen a lot online today. I've seen a lot since yesterday of get Manny the hell off this team. Manny's here, man. You're just going to have to deal with it. And I don't think it's possible for him not to be here, but there are some guys who won't be here. Luis Ariz will not be here next year. Dylan Cease will not be here next year.
Suarez won't be here.
Ryan O'Hearn will not be here. King, Suarez both have options. So this team is going to look different next year. I feel like AJ Preller is pretty well suited to replace those pieces. We've seen him do it year after year. Remember Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha being two of the best pitchers in the National League when they were here. This year with Nick Pivetta, he's pretty good at that. Luis Ariz after the game said, "I'm not ready for this moment. I'm not ready for this moment. I know it's my last year here. I'll be a free agent. This team is special. This team is special. They gave me a lot of opportunities." Michael King, "It's definitely going to be a lot of conversations with my agent, with my family, and we'll see what happens. I'll probably give myself some time to sit on this loss, and then we'll all address it." And then Dylan Cease, "All I can really say is that I really do love it in San Diego."
That means he's gone.
We knew he was gone. We knew Ariz was going to be gone. We knew who was the other one? O'Hearn was going to be gone. He was a rental for
Suarez is going to go get paid somewhere like a crazy amount of money that they're not going to match.
Absolutely. Player options, any player options that are on this Padres team right now will be taken. Those guys will be gone.
Well, and this is what goes into ownership. So we haven't heard anything from ownership.
By the way, Michael King's about to get paid like a frontline starting pitcher.
Totally. And we haven't heard anything from ownership about what the plan is. All we can go off with the new ownership is that last year they didn't spend any money. And it took AJ Preller. So everyone wants to bash AJ Preller today, signing Gavin Sheets to a minimum. Oh, and getting Nick Pivetta on a backloaded 4-year, $55 million deal. The only reason he would come here. 2 impact players for the Padres this year. And if those 2 aren't there, they're not even sniffing the postseason.
You know what, Sammy? I'm glad you bring this up. This was actually the last thought I had last night before going to sleep. Thank you, Padres. You're taking up that real estate in my head. After an incredible 49ers win, where I should be celebrating, where I should be running around the house naked, I was thinking about the Padres last night. Yeah, you heard me, Sammy.
That's not an image that everyone eating their lunch was really looking for.
Put that image right in your head, me running around the house. The last thought I had last night was, the Padres are going to have some money to spend this offseason.
No, Padres, they won't.
No, think about it. All those guys I just mentioned, they're not going to be here.
But they won't spend the money.
Now you get to the last thought before I went to bed last night. The Padres are going to pocket this money. They're going out next year with a worse roster than they had this year.
Well, their big thing that they're going to sell to everyone, this is my prediction.
Tickets will go up.
Is that, of course tickets will go up. Trust me, that is something that they do not have a problem with. Remember when the Padres lost Roki Sasaki, and then the next day they're announcing that the tickets were sold out? Like, that's not exactly what you want to hear, but whatever. Mason Miller is going to move to the being a starter. I don't even know how I feel about that, because
I think he'll be the closer next year because Suarez won't be here.
But all indications are that he's going to move to the starting rotation.
They were. I think they were. I don't know if they still are. I have a feeling Mason Miller is going to be the closer next year.
Well, okay. Maybe you're right, because it seems like all indications they have said have pointed to the fact that he will be a frontline starter. And that's what they're going to try to sell to everyone about why they're going to be so different next year, is that Mason Miller is going to be a frontline starter. And then you're taking away a bullpen that's about to lose Robert Suarez. So that it can't always be an in-house move. You can't always just count on AJ Preller finding a diamond in the rough and Gavin Sheets and Nick Pivetta. Like, it's kind of impressive what AJ Preller was able to do to even keep this team in contention. FedEx Trey, our own guy, says he agrees with me, talking about the end of the game, talking about how when Bogarts and them were yelling at the umps, it's like, real quick back to that, like it's hard for me when I see that to get so upset. Like, yes, it was a horrible call on Bogarts. He should have been walked to first base. But when you can't score for months on end, let alone on the road in a playoff series, why is it coming down to the 9th inning?
You're right with your reasoning. I have no problem with Bogarts going after that ump. That ump's an idiot. That ump missed a call. That absolutely changed the complexion of the game. Any opportunity the Padres could have had was gone. I'm fine with Bogarts getting fired up and getting after him because the season's over, man. That's sure. Was it in great taste? No. Would I teach my kids to do that? No. But I have no problem with Bogarts showing a little bit of fire. In fact, I wish a little more Padres would show a little bit of fire. I think that's something that's duly needed. I would also say Xander Bogaerts needs to be the leader of this team moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You
talk about veteran presence, the most postseason experience by far. He actually played well down the stretch for the Padres when he wasn't injured.
Saved a big run in the first game. It's weird how Merrill and Bogarts and the guys in the middle of the lineup.
By the way, if you were in Vegas listening to this show yesterday, hopefully you listened. I said Jackson Merrill anytime.
I will give you credit on that. You and the text line were very happy on Merrill home run. It was like those two guys showed up. I mean, if you would have said like those two guys, like the way that they play, Freddie Fermin Why
Freddie Fermin was the offensive MVP of this series.
Freddie Fermin is the guy holding it down in the 9th spot. And what did we say coming in the series about last year? What was the downfall of the Dodgers last year? It was the fact that 7, 8, 9, and then Luis Arraez, who was batting 1 last year, was hurt and was not hitting well because you could not set up Tatis and Machado to get it done. Well, they did it this year. You can't kill the bottom of the order. It wasn't the bottom of the order's fall to the middle of the lineup.
I was also thinking about this. If I had to give an offensive MVP for the Padres for the entire season, it's going to Gavin Sheets.
100%
for the entirety of the season.
This is why it's hard for me to go get AJ Preller out of here. AJ Preller, Gavin Sheets was a guy that was cast off from the White Sox. He was a former first-round pick that everyone thought was a bust. If you can't make it on the Chicago White Sox, how are you going to make it anywhere else? In the middle of July or June, I forget what month it was, he was the guy. He was like the best hitter on the team that was keeping him alive.
Most consistent hitter for the entire season for the Padres. Manny went through a huge slump. Fernando went through some of the worst hitting of his career. Gavin Sheets was the best hitter all season long. Ramon Laureano was the best hitter of the second half, but those are your 2 offensive MVPs. So that's why the Padres are where they are, which is going to Cancun right now.
858 wants to ask you, Fletch. Manny is a millennial. Fletch, can you give us some insight into his actions?
What do you mean by that? I guess because I'm a millennial too.
Yeah, they're asking if you can shed some light on Manny's post-game comments because you're a millennial.
I think Manny is an extremely overpaid superstar who had got paid to be the leader of an entire organization by Peter Seidler, who entrusted him with a lot of responsibility to bring the city of San Diego their first championship in any major professional sport. And Manny Machado has failed at that miserably. He's a terrible leader on this team, in my opinion. And what he did this past postseason is pretty inexcusable, going 1 for 11. He had 1 nice hit. Great. It was a big moment. Awesome. Where were the other 2 games? That's what I think.
I agree.
It sucks. Manny Machado got a huge job put on him, and he has failed that job so far. Doesn't mean he's not always going to fail it. Doesn't mean that they can't come back next year and prove all of us wrong, and I hope they do.
Of course they can. We're all hoping for that. It's hard when you keep selling year after year, basically the same roster with some perennial tweaks. And what they have shown you year in and year out is they'll get to the postseason. They're good enough to do that. They can challenge for the division at times, especially when the Dodgers are a little bit down. And maybe they can win a series. Maybe they can win 2, go back to 2022. But they are not this team is not equipped year in and year out to go win a World Series. So it's hard with the same group led by the same guys at the end of the day to expect that next year is going to be any different than this year unless they make big moves in the offseason. I think that's what needs to be made.
Long shots coming up next. Hour 2, we are largely going to dedicate to the weekend of NFL action, and that we got all offseason to react to this Padres news. We got all offseason to react to whatever happens at the general manager, the head coach level. We will deal with all of that as it comes. For me, as of right now, and I feel like a lot of Padre fans as well, little Padres out after all this.
Totally. I'm curious.
Disappointing as hell.
Hour 2, we're going to get into, is there a QB controversy in San Francisco?
And I think there is. But let's finish this segment off from the 619. Great show, you guys. Agree with all your postseason thoughts. In my honest opinion, it is time to be ultra critical of the Padres' issues of untimely hitting with runners in scoring position and slumps of their stars. He believes that that's not today. I believe Padre fans are too kind, supportive, and forgiving of the players and coaches during the regular season.
100%.
The press should have been hammering the coach and players on these issues way back in July and August to send a message before the postseason that this had to be corrected.
Completely agree.
Love the show, from Brian. I will say, I think the most common words uttered on this show, in this show's existence, have been Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis need to perform to their contracts, and they have yet to do that.
And I feel like we've been tough on them, and there's places in this town that'll tell you what you want to hear. I'm telling you, this team, it's true. And it's great that, at the end of the day, I don't tell people to spend their money. If you enjoy going to the ballpark and getting a beer and having a fun night on Friday night, you do you. You spend your money the way you want.
I love the fact that 3.4 million people went to see the Padres.
I love that.
Year.
But also, what's the Cowboys' number one problem? It's that everyone shows up night in, night out. Every week of the Cowboys season, they're still going to be talked about in every morning show across America, despite if they're good, bad, or ugly. And when, look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh holds that team accountable. You know when the Steelers are never trash? Because Pittsburgh will literally decimate them if they are having a decent season. That's not good enough to just get to the postseason. They're talking about firing Mike Tomlin when he hasn't had a losing season in 10 years. This is the kind of things that sometimes to hold questionable management and questionable ownership that is not likely to spend money. Guess what? You hit them where their wallet hurts, they'll start spending money.
Long shots coming up next. We got a couple tickets to give away today as well. We have a pair of tickets actually to go see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on Saturday, October 18th. Keep listening for those. Long shots next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Get a $50 bonus after you play your first $5 entry. Prize Picks is the spot, man. This coming weekend, tons of action in both college and professional football. Download the Prize Picks app so you make sure you are a part of every single second of it, not to mention the baseball postseason. Even though your team's not in it, you can still make some money on it. So download the Prize Picks app today. Some options I'm looking at for the Sunday slate of games. How about a little red demon on George Pickens to score a touchdown? He's a wide receiver for the Cowboys. That could be fun. Download the Prize Picks app today. You're going to get that $50 bonus in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. We're going to gift you a $5 lineup coming up in about 5 minutes on long shots. So you can use that to get that $50 bonus in lineups. Download the app. Take advantage of the promotions. The Taco Tuesdays and the Flex Fridays are where you make your hay. Taco Tuesdays, discounts all over the board. And then on Fridays, Flex Fridays, huge payout boost on the Prize Picks app. Download it today because on Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Just use promo code Fletch at sign up and enjoy some action here in California on Prize Picks. We got Aztecs football tonight. How about that? Friday night lights for the San Diego State Aztecs opening up Mountain West Conference play against the Colorado State Rams. JR Tolver and I get going at 5:30 with the pregame show. John Schaefer, Rich Ornberger will be on the call starting at 7:30 with kickoff. Tickets still available at goaztecs.com. Load that place up. Sean Lewis had a crazy stat in his Monday press conference this week where the Aztecs need 1% of San Diego to consistently be going to games, and that place will be full every single night. San Diego, come on. We also would like 1% of San Diego to be listening to us at all times. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long.
How about we go 50%?
I would like that too. With you until 2:00 today. John and Jim will take over then. A couple quick texts before we get to long shots here. 858 Fletch, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a rumor that Preller didn't want to give Machado the big contract? Yeah, there was. And I believe it. We don't know this for a fact, but it sounds like Peter Seidler and Manny Machado worked out that contract, just the two of them. And I would believe that AJ Preller wasn't involved because it's kind of a dumb contract. It's a lot of money for a lot of years, and Machado is going to be old and well out of his prime by the time it finishes. 858, maybe I got your age wrong, but no way Fletch is a millennial, Gen Z/Zillennial, if you count that as a real generation, but definitely not a millennial. LOL, they were roasting. I am actually a millennial. I'm the cutoff. I am the youngest. I'm the youngest millennial. Yeah.
I don't know what I am.
Rich Ornberger and I are actually the two edges of millennial. He's the oldest of the millennials. I'm the youngest of the millennials.
What am I?
You are Gen Z through and through, my friend.
I'm 23.
You say things like 6'7". You say things like I'm Riz, dude. I got so much Riz.
Okay, I think you're going to boomer now with you trying to pretend like you're a Gen Z.
951, Larry Joe here in the bottom of the ninth. What's up, Larry Joe? Bottom of the ninth inning with the tying run on second. I really thought how Fermin was hitting, he was going to get that big hit to tie the game. Though I think he did enough to win, and the top of our order let the rest of the team down by not doing their part. You are preaching to the choir, 951. Larry Joe, thanks for listening, man. Fermin might have been the Padres MVP of the series. He was fantastic.
Totally.
Every time he got up to bat, I thought he was getting a hit. And really, he wasn't that far off on that last one. Just popped it up a little bit too much. Sammy, you got a long shots for us?
I do. We're hitting a lot of sports in this one. I'm excited to give this one out.
Let's not waste any more time. Let's smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that to me and his man.
With long shots.
Something I've never really tinkered around with on the Prize Picks app is like putting in something live as it's happening. And I did that
live
last
betting's
night.
fantastic.
It's really cool, man. I didn't even know you could do it with Prize Picks, and you can. So in the middle of the game, I took the more than on Mac Jones and Matthew Stafford's yards in the game, and they had them set at a certain time. And then if you took the more than, it was just the total for the game, and they both smashed it. So I had an in-game winner last night.
So what you're saying is that you're bragging how you won money and you didn't share it with everyone.
I just made up for the losses is all I did. So promo code Fletch on Prize Picks. Get that $50 bonus. This could be your first $5 lineup. Sammy, where are we going?
All right, we got a 40% payout boost today. It's a Flex Friday. You get your money back if you don't even get it. So you have to play.
Flex Fridays.
All right, we're going to rip through these. All right, college football first. Tommy Castellanos, Florida State, Miami. Castellanos is a fun player. He played at Boston College before Florida State getting a big win over Alabama to start the season. They're headed down to Miami. Miami might be the most complete team in college football, but I do think the 180.5 passing yards is too low. This is a good Florida State offense. Deuce Robinson, USC transfer, playing wide receiver for them, has had a really nice year. I like Florida State to keep this game close, and I think this could go overtime because it's going to be a tight. All these kids know each other growing up at Florida State, and then Miami, I think more than 180.5 passing yards. I think this is too low a number for Thomas Castellanos.
You call an OT?
Maybe.
Smash that in Vegas.
Smash that in Vegas. Go call it now if it happens. All right, then we're going to UFC fight night. We got a big UFC card. We got Ankalaev Pereira 2. So the first fight, Pereira looked rough in the first fight. Ankalaev was kind of all over him. It went the distance. Pereira's power is really what sells him in the UFC. This is why he was on a fight streak where he fought like 5 times in the span of a year, 6 times. And he was just fighting one after another, kind of because he knocks guys out so fast, he's not that worn down in fights. Now, Ankalaev, he moved up in weight to fight Ankalaev. Ankalaev used a lot of grappling, a lot of keeping him away, using his jab, a lot of distance. I think it changes in this fight. So we're going to go fight time less than 21.75 fight time minutes. That means there's going to be a knockout before the 5th round. I think we see a lot in sequels of fights. They know each other well. They know each other's tendencies. There's less of a feel-out round in the first round. A lot of boxing, UFC fights, you see them kind of be hesitant. Also, Pereira was sick 10 days leading into that fight, almost had to pull out of it. He was fighting a lot within a short time. He said he was at 40%. He said heading in this fight, if he's even at 50%, he's going to knock him out. And on the other side, even if he's not there, I think Ankalaev, seeing him, fighting him once, will be able to take him down and get a chokeout, or Pereira's going to knock out before the 5th round. So less than 21.7 fight time minutes. We're heading to the National Football League. Indianapolis, Las Vegas. It's probably going to be Fletch and I circa pick, but we're going to get into that in an hour or two. Jonathan Taylor, more than 80.5 rushing yards. The Raider rush defense has not been good. And this is how you slow down Max Crosby in that excellent pass rush. Michael Pittman popped up with a hamstring injury, a wide receiver for the Colts. So worrying about the pass game a little bit. What's it going to be? Alec Pierce is out for the game. They have a couple guys on offense who is not going to be playing in this one. So I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Tyler Warren, heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor. I like this number, 88.5, more than. Jonathan Taylor might be the quietest, best player in the NFL right now. He's been fantastic through the first month.
He's second behind Puka Nacua right now in offensive player of the
year. And he
year.
doesn't get talked about. I think people talk about Danny Dimes more because it's kind of more shocking. Then we're going to the night game. I know Fletch is going to say, oh, my God, you're hating on Josh Allen. But I'm going to tell you why. Less than 228.5 pass yards. This is not that Josh Allen's not going to have a good game, but with Josh Allen, and we're looking at pass yards specifically, he's at the under in the last 3 games because a lot of the times they run the ball very effectively with James Cook. He gets out of the pocket and can run himself. Also, divisional matchup. I think this game's going to be pretty close. I do think Buffalo wins, but New England on the road, not a lot of expectation there. 7.5-point dogs. Mike Vrabel always dials something up defensively. It's a hard-nosed football team, and Drake May seemed to get something going last week. I think this is a much lower scoring game, so we're going to go under less than 228.5 passing yards. So to recap, Tommy Castellanos for Florida State quarterback, more than 180.5 pass yards. Ankalev Pereira, less than 21.75 fight time minutes. Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Colts, more than 88.5 rush yards. Josh Allen, less than 228.5 pass yards on Sunday Night Football. Lock it in. You're winning money for next week.
I love it. I really do. I'm trying to see if there's anything I would add to that.
What do you want to add?
I mean, I kind of like the Cam Scatterbo anytime touchdown. Kind of like the James Cook to go along with it. 76.5 rushing yards to go along with Josh Allen.
Okay, if you want to add that, that's fine.
But I don't know.
I'm keeping it at this because I think we're going to go 4-legger today.
I like the Emeka Ibuka 61.5 receiving yards. Maybe I'll just
figure out how to say his name.
Yeah.
Emeka Ibuka.
He's gotten big enough. I got him now. All right, we got to get out of here. Hour 2 is coming up next. Steve Hartman going to be buying hour number 2. We'll talk about all things Padres, NFL, and more with Steve. We out of hour 1, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. College football tonight from San Diego. San Diego State will be taking on the Colorado State Rams. That'll be going at 7:30. And pregame show with J.R. Tolver and Ben Fletch will get going at 5:30. The Aztecs are currently a 6.5-point favorite. Other college football game of the night, BYU hosting West Virginia. That game is at 7:30. BYU is ranked number 23 in the country, and they are favored by 19.5. And the Lakers get their first preseason game underway. Luka Doncic will not be playing in this game per head coach J.J. Redick. They'll be playing the Suns in the new look Suns with Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Eli Manning reminds you there's nothing like football and King's Hawaiian Sliders. There's something about those soft, fluffy, irresistible King's Hawaiian Sliders that make them a winner on game day. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your grocery store. King's Hawaiian, there's nothing like it.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, don't keep us in suspense any longer. Show us what you got.
So,
First pitch swinging from the end of the center. Here's Armstrong on a 3-hit day. Makes the catch.
an early October exit for the Padres.
And we got a bunch of guys in that clubhouse that are hurting, but there's no regrets in that clubhouse for anybody.
Full reaction from the series and speculation about the future. And how the hell did this happen?
Gives to Kyron Williams. He gets back. I think he's short, Tim. And the 49ers stormed the field. The 49ers have won it in overtime here in L.A.
Kicking off a football Friday with some LA magic. We got Aztecs versus Colorado State at Snapdragon Stadium. Time to jump into the weekend from the San Diego Sports 760 studios in the Fletch Zone.
Yes, indeed. It is hour number 2. We got those Judas Priest, Alex Cooper tickets coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned. Steve Hartman is going to jump on the show in about 25 minutes. We'll talk about this weekend with Steve. And Sammy, something we did not really mention in the first hour, something we have to get into in the second hour, and we're going to need the text line's help. 70470. Start your message with team or the YouTube chat as well. You can find us at San Diego Sports 760. We need to make a pick for this week. We avoided last night's game like the plague. Divisional matchup, primetime game. We said no. A lot of people said yes. We'll get the official number on it later tonight. But if you haven't heard, Sammy and I are in this $1,000 survivor pool with the chance to make $18 million by the end of it if we're the last person standing. Expected to be around 2,000 people of the 13,000 remaining were on the Rams last night. Could be more.
Well, just shout out to your Niners, Fletch.
Could be more, could be less. The projection is anywhere from like 20% to 32% were on the Rams last night.
This is the first week that it's tricky. Like,
so there's going to be another 32% or so expected on the Cardinals this week. So we're all rooting for the Panthers.
Right.
Or no, who are the
Titans. We can't pick the Cardinals. We already picked them. Now, the most logical choice, we went help from the text line, 70470. Start your message with team. Again, 70470. Start your message with team. We're thinking about Indianapolis over the Raiders. We'll tell you why. The safe pick of the week seems to be Detroit over the Bengals. But our kind of thinking, Fletch and I, is that you want to save Detroit, Kansas City, and the Cowboys all play on Thanksgiving and Christmas. So you never know what happens. Maybe there's an injury, maybe a star quarterback's out. We want to keep as many holiday teams on the table because we have to pick both of those weeks.
And worst comes to worst, we're obviously taking the Cowboys over the Chiefs.
You have fun with that.
Yeah.
And I have access to the picks, so that won't be happening. But so we're looking at like the Colts are the biggest favorite of the week. That feels like a team. I don't think we'd pick the Colts again. Now, part of me is a little...
Everything we've looked at, the Colts are our only option outside of maybe the Dolphins. But the Dolphins are without Tyreek Hill. Now, the Colts aren't exactly fully healthy going into this one either.
Pittman pulled a hamstring. Alec Pierce is out. Pittman's going to play. They should win. My only hesitation is this. The Raiders they should have won last week. They got a field goal blocked. Like, they're a little bit better than their record is, and Geno has been so bad. Part of me is like, I'm nervous that we could see a Danny Dimes regression type game. It makes me nervous how everyone's going to be on this game.
858 says, I'm taking the Vikings this week. I would like to take the Vikings too. Now, something that made me a little bit nervous is that all the public money is going on the Browns. And so I don't know if I'm missing something, if there's something obvious out there.
Well, no, you fade the public.
Right. I always would agree with that.
I think the public is seeing money. They're seeing a plus money situation.
And Dylan Gabriel coming in.
But see, that makes me more nervous in a weird way. Like I would feel better on picking the Vikings if Flacco was playing.
See, I don't think there's going to be back-to-back weeks where a rookie quarterback comes off the bench to usurp the aged veteran, and back-to-back weeks that person gets the win. I don't see that happening.
My only problem with the Vikings is this. You don't know what you're getting from Carson Wentz. Now, they do have a good offense around them. You got Addison, you got Justin Jefferson, you got weapons on the outside. But they kind of backdoor cut. They were awful against the Steelers for the first 3 quarters. They were awful. And then they got it together. They had that long bomb to Addison. Now they've stayed over there for a week in Europe. So they're playing in London. They were in Dublin last week. The only thing that makes sense with the Browns, and I don't think Dylan Gabriel's that good, but they have had no tape on him. And this guy also, Dylan Gabriel, we talk about motivation. Everyone's going to come call him for Shador if he sucks for the next 2 weeks.
I don't know. I like I said, I am not happy, but okay with the Colts.
858 wants to take the Saints. Is this our Saints fan?
We're not taking the Saints. Sorry about it. Text us though, 70470. Start your message with team. All right, we skipped over the big 3 of the first hour. We need to get to it here. Sammy Long takes us through the top stories in the world of sports. It's going to be a quick big 3. We got Steve Hartman coming up in 20 minutes. We have Judas Priest tickets coming up in about 5 minutes, so stay tuned. But big 3 time, Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
I'm so happy that my Niners almost said it, destroyed like 3,000 people in this pool.
It's okay. We have a dumb button.
Yeah, we do, but I didn't.
We've hit it multiple times already.
I think only once on this show. Sammy, where are we going?
We're going to go to your Niners. We're going to talk about, I'm going to let you do a little parade. You guys won yesterday. Looked very good. But the question that everyone, including the text line, can chime in on 70470, start your message with team. Is there a quarterback controversy
Absolutely.
in San Francisco?
100% there is. Mac Jones is a freaking gladiator. Mac Jones went out there and put the boys on his back. Look, you love to have that in a backup quarterback, someone with the capability to win a game. Mac Jones showed you something different last night. He showed the capability to go out and start and be a good starter in the NFL. He did not get a fair shot in New England. I think everyone would agree with that. He didn't have talent around him, didn't have anything around him. Last night, he showed why he was able to get some wins in New England. His rookie season, he was pretty good. Last night, he goes out with essentially the Chiefs wide receiving core from like 3 years ago with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Demarcus Robinson,
Sky Moore,
and Kendrick Bourne and Sky Moore, and put together a hell of a game against the Rams, who have a very good defense. And the defense stepped up for the Niners too, poking out 2 balls from the running backs of the Rams. I still do not know how the Niners won that game, but Mac Jones was a freaking huge part of it, man. And when you see that kind of commitment, someone who was quite literally about to die on a shield last night, I thought he was dead a couple of times. Impressive as hell what Mac Jones did. So yes, there is a quarterback controversy. And if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch don't get it right here over the next few months, they might be gone.
Well, I'm happy you came around on this because everyone's been trying to tell you this for years about Brock Purdy. He is a timing passer.
Not even saying Brock Purdy's bad.
No, he's not bad. That's the.
I've seen Brock Purdy play as well as Mac Jones played last night. I don't know that I've seen him play better than Mac Jones played last night.
I think there is quarterback controversy. Now, the contract's going to be different. They paid him a what ton of money. It's a bad look. They just go to him. And if they try to throw out there to trade Brock Purdy, that means that other teams are going to see that the Niners don't believe in him. I think what's going to happen is if Purdy comes back and plays well, you're going to see Mac Jones get dealt for a pretty high pick. Now, Mac Jones, to your point, had no talent in New England. We've seen this happen with a lot of quarterbacks. Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold got taken to the Jets and then the Panthers, 2 teams with no talent whatsoever. Then he gets to the Vikings, he gets to the Niners, and now he's to the Seahawks, and he's playing extremely well because he has actual talent around him. It's a lot about where you get drafted, where a lot of quarterbacks have success.
Did you see how Mac Jones responded to the question about
he said Purdy's QB1?
Yeah, but he did it perfectly, where Shador Sanders did it the worst way possible. He was like, look, this is Brock's job. I got hired to do a job, and that was to be the backup in case of emergency. I'm just trying to do the best job I can be at being the backup. This is Brock's team.
Brock will be the quarterback. Brock is not a bad player. Brock's a good player. I just think Brock has a ceiling on him. Mac Jones is interesting because I think he has a lot of trade value. Like you're talking about
huge.
The Bengals are telling you right now, if they don't go trade for Mac Jones, that they are, without saying it, trying to tank for a pick next year and try to just be really good. They don't think that they have a defense that can go win a Super Bowl, especially with Joe Burrow being out, despite having all the weapons on offense. So they're trying to lose, get a big pick, get back next year, because Mac Jones is a guy, first round pick, young player. He's a guy that if the way he's playing with Kyle Shanahan's offense, I mean, maybe he could go be a franchise quarterback somewhere. I don't know, but it certainly is. Shout out to your Niners.
First round pick, who, by the way, Kyle Shanahan wanted to take in that draft. It's become public that he got pressured into taking Trey Lance instead.
I think that also last night, if the Niners lose that game, I think that season kind of goes down the drain, in my opinion, in terms of with all the injuries stacking up. The Niners winning that game last night, now you have a whole kind of new lease on life in the division.
Now you almost feel like you have a couple weeks to get everybody healthy, get the whole gang back together. That was the feeling in my house last night was, oh man, Super Bowl is back in reach, baby. Okay. Let's go.
This is where we
What's next, Sammy?
All right, Bucks, Seahawks. Speaking of Sam Darnold, really fun matchup this weekend. Seahawks 3.5-point favorites at home. Do you see either team or the winner as a legit shot to be one of the top contenders to dethrone the Eagles in the NFC?
Seahawks are winning this game. The Bucks are dealing with as many injuries as the 49ers are. They just have a healthy quarterback, and I'm not sure Baker Mayfield's all that healthy. He got beat to absolute you-know-what in their last game out. But Bucky Irving confirmed to be sidelined for this one. Mike Evans confirmed to be sidelined for this one. They're missing a couple pieces on the defensive side. Their offensive line's injured. Like, the Bucks are the walking wounded as much as the 49ers are. It's just not as public for whatever reason. But the Seahawks will win. They have an excellent defense. Leonard Williams, is that his name up in the middle?
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's incredible.
USC product.
Every single game he's played in, he makes a massive impact.
What team do you see moving forward as a bigger threat in the NFC?
As in someone who could beat the Eagles in the postseason?
Yeah, or the Rams. If we see the Rams, Lions, and Eagles, despite the Rams' loss last night, as the top.
You're leaving out a team that just beat the Rams last night.
Fine, we'll throw your Niners in there.
I don't know that there is a huge threat to the Eagles right now.
Really?
The way they play until the tush push is out of the league, I think the Eagles are the best team.
You don't think Detroit has a legit chance to beat
I think any of those teams we just talked about, Rams, Niners, maybe not the Bucks, maybe not the Seahawks, but those teams could beat the Eagles in a one-off situation, but I'm not going to say I'm comfortably picking one of them to just upset them easily.
The Seahawks to me are... It's cool seeing Sam Darnold have success because everyone keeps writing this guy off. I mean, they wrote him off having the Jets, the Panthers, the Niners, then the Vikings. He was in the MVP conversation, and then the way he played in the final two games of the season, including the playoffs, everyone kind of cast him aside. And now with Seattle, he's having a really good season. That's a really young defense, got a lot of talent. I think they'll get better as years to come. I think Tampa Bay is interesting because when healthy, Emeka Egbuka now with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, that's a fearsome top three. And the Eagles' number one problem, again, I'm not picking them to beat Philly in the NFC, is corner. If there's one reason why the Eagles will not go back to the Super Bowl, it's because of the corner situation. I do think the Bucs, when healthy, Baker Mayfield probably doesn't get enough respect. You have some concerns about the defense there, but I do think the Bucs have been a team the last couple of years that have perennially been in the NFC playoff picture, and they don't really get talked about in the discussion as a team that could ascend to the Super Bowl conversation. The Bucs are interesting if they got hot down the stretch. They could go on a little run in the postseason.
You know, I think the world of Baker Mayfield. All right, we'll save Big Three story number 3 for next. Right now, we're going to give away some tickets. Judas Priest, Alice Cooper, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, October 18th. You want to be at that show? Now is the time to call Ticketmaster.com for tickets, 877-767-4760 to win a pair. We will go with what caller number, Sammy? What do you want to do?
Let's go 7.
7. Caller number 7, you're going to see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We will be right back with Big Three, number 3, coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for my friend Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Gary Cooper can handle your problems. That's what he's best at, man. So if you've been in a situation like I've been in, like my wife has been in, where we've called around about the real estate market, trying to hire a real estate agent, trying to figure out a different mortgage broking company to go with, every conversation we have, we leave confused. Here's what's great about Gary Cooper. He's going to sit you down and talk you through every single detail of the home buying process, of the home selling process, of the mortgage process, and he's going to work as hard as he can to make sure you are keeping the most money in your pocket as humanly possible. Give Gary Cooper a call today, even if you're just thinking about dipping your toe into an investment property, into a home for you and your family, into selling your home, into refinancing your loan. Gary Cooper is the man for you. Have a conversation with him at 858-376-1299. You can also visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. Gary prides himself on something called loanology. Loanology is what you're going to walk out of Gary Cooper's office with or hang up the phone with. It is a degree he will give you that you don't have to pay a bunch of money for to get at a college or a university. Gary Cooper's degree of loanology is so you can understand all the stuff that the mortgage companies don't want you to understand, all the stuff that the real estate agents don't want you to understand, like how you're actually buying down interest rates, how you're actually spending more money than you need to get that low interest rate. Call Gary Cooper today at 858-376-1299 and have that conversation. Take that first step forward to keeping more money in your pocket, no matter what step of the home buying process you are in. Buying a house, selling a house, refinancing a loan, taking money out of your house. Gary Cooper is the man for you. Give him a call today at 858-376-1299 or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. I'm going to read this one in Steve Hartman's voice, actually, off the text line from the 858. You need to change Steve's segment over to Overreaction Fridays. Ask Steve if the Chiefs are still done.
That's right. Oh, trust me, we'll be asking Steve about that.
He might say yes. We got a YouTube chat from our buddy SDSU Aztec Mike. What's going on, Aztec Mike? Thank you for being here. He says, go Aztecs. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Ben Fletcher here. I will be at Snapdragon Stadium tonight, 5:30 to 7:30, doing the pregame show for San Diego State as they open up Mountain West play against the Colorado State Rams. So come on by, say hi. J.R. Tolver and I will be down in the yellow lot right next to the River Walk block party. Should be a lot of fun. By the way, did you see the Aztecs' new logos they unveiled yesterday?
They look pretty cool, man. I like them.
I think they look badass.
Yeah, I like the I like when universities change their jerseys a little bit. I like when they like play with that a little bit. And
it looks like I saw a video of it. I'm not 100%. Don't take me at my word here. And I have a habit of doing this and then sticking my foot in my mouth. But I think I saw them putting it on the field yesterday at Snapdragon Stadium. So maybe you get a first look at that tonight.
Fletch, one thing the text line wanted to point out to you: the Niners have the same chance of winning a championship that the Padres do.
Okay, Sammy. Look at me 100% honestly and tell me you agree with that text.
You know
that
what?
would be you saying the Niners have a 0% possibility.
No. I think there's a sliver. Now, I think the Nick Bosa injury is a big deal.
That's the biggest one.
I think if Nick Bosa was healthy, I don't
George
see
Kittle expected back in 2 weeks. Ayuk expected back in 2 weeks. Pearsall expected back next week. Brock in 2 weeks.
The Niners have a shot. They're a playoff team. The problem for me is that I don't think they're better than the Eagles. I don't think they're better than the Lions. I think at the end of the day, the Rams will be better at the end of the year.
Can I throw this out there?
What?
They're currently 3-0 against NFC West opponents.
Okay. That's great. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but you talking about Chapey, like they are not a favorite out of the NFC to get to the Super Bowl.
No, but saying it can't get done, I think that's ridiculous. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I could win the lottery tomorrow too.
I think you might. I hope you do. This show gets better if you do. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Everyone has a chance, Sammy. Who won those tickets for
Sergio? Our guy Sergio, man.
Judas
Listens to the
Priest
show every day.
And Alice Cooper. Sergio, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us a call, man. We sure do appreciate it. Steve Hartman is coming up next. Sammy, what was big 3 story number 3?
Well, I was going to get to Lamar Jackson's been ruled out of the game Sunday. Both teams 1-3 playing the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens. Number one, I was kind of going to get to the other side though.
Do we take the Texans?
Well, that was an interesting point that you brought up. CJ Stroud, though, from a quarterback perspective, this guy a year ago was thought to be the next the next Jaden Daniels, the next Justin Herbert, the guy that was the kind of new quarterback, and it's completely fallen off a map.
We learned last night you don't just take a team because of injuries, because that was the reason everyone was picking the Rams.
I would stay away from that because Houston has not shown that besides the Tennessee Titans, they can score with anyone.
Let me throw this out there though. Ravens allowed 41 points in week 1 to the Bills. Okay, we can write that off as Bills-Ravens rivalry. They meet each other all the time in the postseason. But then 17 to the Browns, who can't score on anybody. 38 to the Lions, who do score on everybody. And then 37 to the Chiefs, who we can be honest about your Chiefs. It's not like they've been lighting up the scoreboard.
No, they were terrible before Sunday.
The Ravens defense is banged up. It looks like Hamilton's not going to play this week.
Hamilton's out. Humphrey's out. Wiggins, I think, is out. The other corner.
There's reasons to pick Houston,
but John Harbaugh, Derrick Henry is still there. Zay Flowers is still there at home. If this was in Houston, I would.
Cooper Rush the backup.
Cooper Rush the backup. Cooper
He's
Rush
had some games.
Won some games for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think picking them over the Colts would be asinine.
I mean, the Colts going up against Pete Carroll though. Raiders feel like they're due. I don't know.
But at least the Colts are at home.
Yes, I agree. I'm still on Colts. Text line is trying to convince us to go Vikings. I don't hate that, but the Vikings do play on one of the holidays, don't they?
619 says Vikings are down 3 offensive linemen. That's an interesting thing. They're 3 offensive linemen against Myles Garrett.
Okay, you're reading the one text against the Vikings.
No, I mean the rest of 858 Flores versus a rookie QB is a W. It's 858. Everyone gets excited when the rookie quarterback comes in and when they make a quarterback change, but most rookies don't win their opening game. That's very true. Dart did last week for the Giants. 858, another one. Vikings offensive line hurt. I don't know. It's tough to me. The Vikings make me a little nervous. I think they win, but the lack of offensive line against that's the mold of how the Browns win. It's low scoring. They make a couple plays at the end of the game, and Myles Garrett and these guys go off. And offensive line, Carson Wentz is a statue back there after the injury when he was with the Eagles. I think the Colts are a move.
So do I. I think I'm comfortable with that, but we'll see. I might change my mind.
858's asking.
We got to get to Steve. We'll read all the texts at the end of the show today. Steve Hartman is coming up next in about 3 minutes. Keep listening. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The support sponsored by the Kings Hawaiian Sliders. The Aztecs are back tonight, live from Snapdragon against Colorado State. They're currently a 6.5-point favorite. That game will get going at 7:30. In the pregame with Fletch and J.R. Tolver, we get going at 5:30. And the Lakers are back tonight in the preseason, first preseason game of the year. Luka Doncic will not play, according to head coach J.J. Redick. They're playing the new look Suns with Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks after the Kevin Durant trade. Eli Manning reminds you there's nothing like football and Kings Hawaiian Sliders. There's something about those soft, fluffy, irresistible Kings Hawaiian Sliders that make them a winner on game day. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your grocery store. Kings Hawaiian. There's nothing like it.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. And right now it's time for everybody's favorite time of the week when we get to chat with Steve Hartman, future Hall of Famer in the Southern California Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Hi, Steve. How was your week?
Well, better than the Padres, guys. I was really looking forward to another postseason matchup between the Dodgers and the Padres, but hard to win 3 games or win 2 out of 3 games on the road when you only score 5 runs in 3 games against a Cubs staff that was far from dominant. I'm very disappointed in the Padres.
Fair. You should see our text line today, Steve. It's been outrageous, and I think that everyone's been 100% right so far. Sammy and I have been critical. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., 1 hit apiece in this series. You're not going to win any postseason series when your stars aren't performing. I think that's been the modus operandi for Padres fans here. So we'll see what happens with the Major League Baseball postseason. That Yankees-Red Sox series was fantastic, man. It was electric. It was booming. Dodgers move on, make easy work. I think Phillies-Dodgers is going to be incredible. We'll see. Let's go to the NFL, Steve. Reaction from last night's game. Rams, Niners. Niners are the walking wounded. They get it done.
Well, let's put this. Here's the fact. The 49ers, as 8.5-point underdogs last night, are the biggest underdogs so far this season to win straight up of any NFL game. So here we are into week 5, and there was no bigger dog than the 8.5-point underdog 49ers to actually win a game so far in 2025. Inexcusable for the Rams. They came out so flat in a game where, well, let's remind everyone, 49ers had their backup quarterback, their top 3 wide receivers out, George Kittle's out, and Bosa's out for the year. I mean, they had nothing. I mean, you literally had a quarterback throwing to receivers that he didn't even know. And yet they dug themselves an early hole. They tried to come back. Obviously, the Kyron Williams fumble at the 1-yard line like destiny, and that 4th and 1 call. I mean, even after the game, Sean McVay admitted that was a terrible call. That's on me. But again, why would you call that 4th and 1 and you run a straight handoff when they haven't been able to cover Puka Nacua the entire second half? I don't know what the hell happened to the Rams, but that was a disastrous loss for the Rams because the 49ers pretty much have been given up for dead with all their injuries, and now they're 3-0 in the division, 4-1 overall. The Rams are looking up at them. Guys, I'm telling you right now, who's going to stop the Eagles and the Bills? Who's going to stop the Eagles and the Bills? The conference championship games will be in Buffalo, and they'll be in Philadelphia. Who's going to go on the road into those cities and come out with a win? I can think of one. I think the season's already over.
Steve, I can think of one quarterback who's gone on the road and beaten Buffalo in the postseason.
Yeah, well, okay. Are the Chiefs still in the league? Yeah, they are. Okay, so now let's catch up on the Chiefs. Too bad he couldn't make that Tyreek Hill. Oh, that's right. His career's over. I don't see where they're going to come back. Look, the Chargers woke up to reality as once again, everyone's starting to praise Justin Herbert, and he absolutely goes belly up with a horrific performance on the road against the pathetic winless Giants. I'm still going with the Broncos. Broncos are my preseason pick to win the AFC West. I'm going to stay with the Broncos right now to win the AFC West. I have the Chiefs and Chargers both coming out of the West as wild cards, and we'll take it from there. But nobody's going to Buffalo, and this is not the same Chiefs team that it was even a couple of years ago, Sammy. You want to live in the past? Don't do that. That's like a Raiders fan. They live in the past. Don't be myopic. accept reality. The Chiefs are not. The Chiefs offense looked good against the worst defense by far in the NFL, that being the Baltimore Ravens. There is no defense in the league that comes close statistically at the bottom of the list like the Baltimore Ravens. And that's the only team that the Chiefs suddenly look like they had some semblance of an offense. Unfortunately, they're not playing the Ravens every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you put 37 points up and you don't have your number one receiver, but that's besides the point. Chargers and Commanders. What quarterback do you want going forward, Justin Herbert or Jaden Daniels?
Look, jury's out on both of them. As far as Jaden Daniels, before the injury, it was obvious that teams have made an adjustment to Jaden Daniels. And now it's up to him to make the adjustment back. They do this with every single young quarterback that has a big first season. And then it's up to that quarterback to make the other adjustments to counter whatever defense is going to do against them. I think that if you're going to go long-term, I would still go with a guy like Justin Herbert in the sense that he'll stay on the field. Running quarterbacks have short careers. I mean, I go back, was anyone better than Cam Newton in 2015? You have quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels who likes to go out of the pocket and run, but they're going to have shortened careers. So if you're asking me 10 years from now, or let's say 8 years from now, who has a better chance to still be standing upright in the NFL, it would be Justin Herbert over Jaden Daniels. That being said, I doubt either one of them will come anywhere near a sniff of a Super Bowl.
Wow. All right, Steve. I don't know if everybody knows this, but you actually worked for the Raiders for a little bit. They're 1-3 on the year. Probably should have had a win last week against the Chicago Bears. This week, they're heading to the Indianapolis Colts, where Daniel Jones has become a new man. In fact, he has a new nickname as well, Indiana Jones. Jonathan Taylor is playing fantastic to start the season. How do you see this matchup between the Raiders and the Colts going?
Okay, so I'm going to be admitting that, I can be wrong, and I've been wrong plenty over the years. I was wrong about the impact of Pete Carroll. I think the game has passed him by. I was wrong certainly about Geno Smith with Pete Carroll being a major upgrade at quarterback. He has been awful this year. The good news is Ashton Genty finally got a few blocks, not running into a stone wall like he was the first couple of weeks, and showed what he's capable of. I'm a big believer that Ashton Genty is going to be all that. So you got Ashton Genty and you have Brock Bowers. And you got Max Crosby. But Geno Smith is finished, and I'm not sure that Pete Carroll can catch up with where the game is right now. It's going to be another long season for the Raiders. I was hoping for their sake that they would become relevant. They're not. The Raiders are in for a long, hard season. They'll be lucky to win 6 games this year.
So even a Colts
that's
team,
just reality. If you don't have a quarterback, it's impossible to win in this league.
So even a Colts team that's dealing with some injuries, you feel confident that Daniel Jones is going to be able to take care of this?
Well, if the Rams can't stop Jonathan Taylor, the Raiders can't stop Jonathan Taylor, then they have no chance in this game. I think Indianapolis will run it down their throat. That's going to be their game plan. And again, for Daniel, look at Indiana Jones is simply there to not screw things up. Make a couple of passes, play it smart. Look at Mac Jones last night, right? I mean, just make short passes, don't screw things up. That's what Daniel Jones is doing right now with the Indianapolis Colts. Their defense has been better than advertised. They don't really have great wins so far, but, they're not making mistakes. And that is what Daniel Jones is out there to do, not make mistakes. Let our running game and our outstanding offensive line control the game. It's going to be a rough day for the Raiders.
Steve, what do you make? So Seattle hosting Tampa Bay this week, kind of a fun matchup in the NFC. You said the Eagles stand alone. Do you see any team as a shot to take them down in the NFC?
Well, I've said this before. I thought this before last night. I mean, if the Rams have a healthy Matthew Stafford, I think they're the next best team. Green Bay is all over the place right now. I'm not quite sure where Green Bay is. I guess we have to concede the fact that, the idea that Sam Darnold is only going to be good with a Vikings team. Well, he was great last year with the Vikings. Obviously, the Seahawks don't have those kind of weapons, but they have a solid running game. They're a middling team. I mean, they're a team that, a couple of bounces go their way could end up in the postseason. Tampa, I'm still a believer and have always been a believer in Baker Mayfield. He's one of those quarterbacks that carries that, perennial chip on his shoulder. He's always motivated, and he continues to show why, even though they came up short last week, that he is capable of bringing his team back. So I will say this. I think that is a really good game. The winner of the game really puts themselves in a great position as far as the playoffs concerned. But guys, I'm grasping the idea that this is already week 5. Like, we have bye week this week.
I know.
We already have byes. This is the thing, insanity about the NFL and the college football seasons. It just goes by so fast. You blink and you're halfway through the year. But yeah, I think the winner of the Seattle-Tampa game has a great shot of making it to the postseason.
Steve, with the Padres postseason, we really didn't have time this week to cover what was an excellent weekend in college football. I mean, that Penn State-Oregon game was fantastic. But if you're looking right now with the responsibility that the world of college football has entrusted with you to select next year's winning Heisman Trophy candidate, where are you leaning right now? 5 or 6, 7 weeks into the college football season?
We're absolutely wide open. It's rare. Honestly, at this point, since I've been voting in 2010, we've never seen a season where there is no clear-cut favorite. I mean, we can talk about Dante Moore, obviously, with the win on the road against Penn State. That's a big win, but he didn't play particularly great in the game. Mendoza seems to be a guy that's on a lot of radars. But, guys, let's put it this way. We remember Arch Manning, right? Anyone remember Arch Manning? Okay, so they have a road game against Florida. Florida's not great, but what if he goes out and throws 4 touchdown passes? All of a sudden he wakes up and shakes off whatever has been, he did it this last week against Sam Houston State. That doesn't really count, but any one of these guys gets hot. And this is going to be a Heisman race that's going to come down to the last games, the conference championship games, who plays well in those games. Even a few years ago, and, Fletch, we were doing that with Bryce Young. Remember, Bryce Young was a little bit on the bubble. We're like, Aiden Hutchinson, are we going to look at a defensive player? And then what happened? Bryce Young lights out, beats Georgia, undefeated Georgia in the SEC championship game. Boom, game over. He ends up winning the Heisman Trophy. So, I think it's going to be one of those years. Right now, there's no clear-cut favorite. I mean, they're still talking about Mateer as the number 2 betting favorite. We don't even know how long he's going to be out. So that's how wide open it is right now. But that was a huge win. And 2 things that we were constants last week. 1, James Franklin is now 1-18 as Penn State's head coach in matchups against Big Ten teams ranked in the top 10. 1-18. And the other thing is Lincoln Riley. It doesn't matter who they're playing, where they're playing. If it's a close game, he's going to lose. He loses every single time they have a close game. So those are 2 constants from the coaching standpoint.
Man, Steve, it almost feels like you're trying to make Sammy more angry as this interview goes on. Are you trying to do that?
Well, I know Sammy's got to, this is how life is, Fletch. You've had a little more life in you.
Sure.
And Sammy, I always say this, as you experience life, it's a layer after layer. There's highs, there's lows. You root for teams, you root against teams. Things don't always go your way. Sammy has been on this thing with the Chiefs. Like he have you forgotten, Sam? When I first knew Sammy, 10, 12 years ago, Chiefs sucked. They weren't anywhere. Have you forgotten that, Sammy? Because now you have these blinders on that somehow everything's going to work out for the Chiefs. It's not. Did you miss that blowout loss in the Super Bowl? Your father, Sammy, had to hang on to Super Bowl 4 for 50 years.
Hey, and now we got 3 more.
Yes. But I mean, he was still hanging on to that. He wasn't even
former world champ, Steve.
I mean, it's like unbelievable. So I mean, just play it 1 week at a time. Maybe something positive will happen with the Chiefs. What they need right now is to Broncos are finally getting it together. That's the team. I still
by
have my
beating
eye
the
on.
Bengals with no offense.
All right, you two, break it up, Steve.
Whoa! And the Chiefs blowing out a Ravens team with no defense.
Steve, we gotta go. Your points are all well heard. Sammy is in the corner crying, so everything's good. You did your job today, Steve. We appreciate the hell out of you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Love you guys both. Have a great week. I'm sorry about the Padres. Damn, I wanted that Padres matchup in the postseason.
So did we. Get your ass down here to San Diego, Steve.
Love you, brother.
Still working on it. All right, guys.
Bye. It's Steve Hartman. It's always a mystery where it's going to go on Fridays. Today, it just went straight for Sammy's heart, which is fun. I appreciate it. All right, final break of the day here. We will come back. Get you ready for tonight's action between San Diego State and Colorado State. Put some final thoughts and wrap up this Padres season and get you ready for the weekend. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. John and Jim will be coming up next. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being with us today. Before we run, a couple of YouTube comments that slipped through the cracks. Our buddy Rich saying Kendrick Bourne is going to be the fantasy pickup in all PPR leagues next week. Kendrick Bourne had himself a night, man. I don't know. As the Niners get healthier, I think his role diminishes a little bit, but him and Mac Jones have some sort of connection.
I'm surprised he was a free agent for so long.
That goes back to their Patriots days. Mac Jones' best season was his rookie year, where he was connecting with Kendrick Bourne regularly. Demi Gunn on YouTube says, just joined. Not sure if you guys talked about this already. Do you think the Padres can get Sheets for a cheap designated hitter option next year? Gavin Sheets under team control through 2027 with arbitration. So I don't know how cheap it'll be, but he's going to be on the Padres next year.
Yeah, I think that's a smart ad, and he was one of the reasons why the Padres even got to the postseason, because they were able to get him on such a short contract. So yeah,
I'm like 99% sure on that, by the way. I remember reading that when he came over that he was team control through 2027. That's been in the back of my brain.
Well, they better keep somebody, because Suarez and Laureano, a lot of these guys are gone. They got to keep like some of this team together.
So the guys who are for sure gone, I guess not for sure. I guess the Padres can make qualifying offers or make free agency offers, but Arise, Cease, O'Hearn, those guys are good as gone. Then Michael King and Suarez both have player options after this season. So you would assume both of them are going to go take money elsewhere and leave. Padres have a lot of work to do. John and Jim will be doing a lot of work themselves on the Padres. Aztecs football later tonight, 7:30 kick. I'll be on pregame alongside J.R. Tolver at 5:30 at Snapdragon Stadium. Can't wait for it as they open up Mountain West play. John and Jim are coming up next.
Are we deciding on our circuit pick? Is
Colts.
It Colts? We're going with the Colts.
I texted my people. I locked it in with them. Your job, go to Circa right now. Lock it in.
The Colts.
Are you okay?
Daniel Jones, I'm looking at you right now before we get off there. You better not sell this thing and we come in on Monday and we lost $1,000.
Steve likes it.
This is Steve also likes a lot of things. We love Steve, but come on. Colts, come through for us.
John and Jim are going to break down the door. We're leaving. Good week, Sammy. Nice work.
Fun week, dude. It's outside the Padres.
Peace out. We'll see you Monday. I'll see you later tonight. San Diego Sports 760. We out.